Yes, you guys, how you all doing today? I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV, and today I'm here to bring you guys another News Daily video. Now in today's video I have a few updates and some interesting stories to give you. First, I'm going to give you guys a FIFA 21 update because there was some interesting news that came out earlier today. And after that, you guys, I'll be speaking about Rudiger, Ampadu and Hudson-Odoi. So we definitely have a ton of things to break down, discuss and speak about for today. Before I get into anything though, if you like today's video, then smash that like button, help me get over 4,000 likes for today's video. And without wasting no more time, we start with the first story for today, and that's the FIFA 21 update that came out earlier today. Earlier this afternoon, EA did announce some big news surrounding next year's FIFA in regards to some new legends that have been added to the game. Now, in particular for us fans, it's looking particularly exciting and particularly promising because 4 ex-players are finally going to be playable in next year's FIFA. Those 4 players are Ashley Cole, Samuel Eto'o, Fernando Torres and Petr Cech. So, right now, for any of you guys who create the past and present Chelsea teams, we have options to use for next season. I'm going to let you guys know this. In particular for this season, I was planning on doing some content. Now, at the time, I actually saw my entire team and I just bought players that had represented our club over the years. Players from this season, older players too. And as you guys can see on screen beside me, my team's looking pretty strong and pretty promising. The reason why this content never ever came out though, is not because I'm dead at FIFA. Okay, only a tiny bit. But the main reality is, you guys, I can't suffer anymore with this game. Now, honestly, I'm one of those guys where repetition really gets me and really kills me, and FIFA in particular this year has just been non-stop repetition for everything. I can't stand the dragbacks. I hate defending against dragbacks. I hate defending non-stop, and it's one of them games where it's like you have to apply so much mental energy just to, get that win. So for next season though, I'm planning to just man up and get good at the game again because I completely flopped this year. And I really think for next year, you guys, with the addition of these new legends, with the addition of our new signings and Timo Werner, soon to be Kai Havertz too, there's going to be so many fun squads to make for next year's FIFA. So expect there to be some content that comes out for that, you guys. If you like that idea, then make sure you guys show your support and give me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. And now we move on to the second story for today. And this story centers around Antonio Rudiger. And it seems like there's interest coming from Liverpool in regards to signing him in this window. Now, when it comes to the outlets that broke the story, this did come from Mundo Deportivo, so I think that tells you everything that you need to know. However, we do know that for this season in particular, it seems like one defender is guaranteed to be leaving, and when you consider all our 4 options at centre back, you feel that maybe Rudiger could be the prime player to sell in this current window. But anyway, you guys, before I give you my thoughts and opinions, let's break down today's story first. Now, according to today's reports, it seems like Liverpool are looking towards Rudiger as a replacement for Lovren, who recently signed for Zenit St. Petersburg. Now, what makes this story quite realistic in a sense is that currently Rudiger only has 2 years left on his current deal. In particular, with today's COVID climate, it does seem like players who have 2 years left on their deal are very attractive propositions for clubs to sign at this point in time. When you consider Rudiger's age and his recent injury issues, could he be the prime player to sell in today's window? If you're asking me, I do think this could be the case because right now Azuma has many years left on his deal, Christensen still has a lot of hope surrounding his name too, and Tomori is a great young defender who could potentially stay here or could potentially leave on loan depending if a good offer comes in for him in the first place. So in that sense, it's looking like Rudiger is currently right at the bottom in the pecking order, and to keep things real, I think maybe deservedly so. Now, to give him the benefit of the doubt, I definitely think that injuries have played a part against Rudiger's form in particular this season, and when you consider that we need to sell players to raise the funds to reinvest back into the team, maybe selling him to Liverpool could be okay. Now, I know when it comes to, selling players to your rivals, strengthening them, that's always something to think about. However, not to sound mean and not to sound too muggy, is Rudiger really improving that Liverpool defense exponentially? I don't think so. And in the case of Rudiger, maybe the player may feel that for next season, my place could be in jeopardy. Yes, Werner's here and Havertz is soon to come as well, but this is modern day football. It's a cutthroat business. There's no sentimentality at all. If Rudiger feels that game time for next season might come harder, then maybe it makes sense to consider Liverpool working under Jurgen Klopp, working under a team that recently won the league and is currently one of the best teams in Europe too. He may feel that his chances of getting first team football against Matip and Gomez could be better than getting first team football here. I mean, playing alongside Van Dijk is definitely going to boost his international hopes of securing first team football too. So there's definitely a lot of interesting factors to consider, and for me, I think that there could be more developments coming out from this story, not in particular from Liverpool, but from other clubs showing interest in Rudiger, who right now only has 2 years left and could be sold for a very affordable fee. So let's see what happens here, you guys. We now move on to the third story for today, and this is in regards to Hudson-Odoi. Now yesterday, Hudson-Odoi did a great thing. He took part in a charity game that was centered around anti-knife crime and supporting the Black Lives Matter movement. So respect to Callum, because literally he contributed in this friendly 12 hours after that recent loss against Bayern Munich. So that tells you everything you need to know about Hudson-Odoi's willingness to support the cause. Now, what happens earlier today? A certain tabloid going by the name of The Sun, they came out, and in typical Sun fashion, they just create an absolute fabrication of a story to tarnish his name because, and I'm gonna say it straight, they love to tarnish the names of black players. They've been doing it for years. They've been doing it consistently, and it seems they're desperate to find a new black target to get. Now, I'm not even gonna read out how The Sun flipped this story. I mean, it's absolutely disgraceful, and it's so shocking considering that right now in the times we live in, you can get access to this news easily. It was fully made public too. And there's no way in hell you can flip a story like this. It can't happen. But you know what? To just finish the story, you guys, one thing I do want to say is that right now, we have the power to control how these narratives are formed. The Sun, they focus on sensationalism. That's been their business model for years. They do this so they can get some reactionary clicks, because right now, you guys, publications, YouTubers, so many people that make their money on the internet completely just sell themselves for anything just to get some easy clicks and some easy money. But if we notice that, if we clock onto that pattern, we can take responsibility by not clicking on that link. It's as simple as that. I never did that today, and to be honest, I didn't have to, because that headline was circulating across the timeline. As I'm really stressing you guys, we have the power and responsibility to not feed into this. If you see nonsense, lies and fabrication, do not ever click those links. Now to move on to the fourth story for today, this focuses on Ampadu, and it's a very interesting report. Late last night I actually spoke about the story, but I actually couldn't release it today based on latest news that came out surrounding the story. Now yesterday it was reported that Norwich City were entertaining the idea of signing Ampadu on loan for this season. Now I know what you guys were thinking, and my initial thoughts too were, you know, Norwich City, they've been relegated. If Ampadu was to play in the Championship, that should have happened about 2 or 3 seasons ago. Now, it seems like today reports have come out and they strongly suggest that Fulham, newly promoted Fulham, are currently in the running to sign Ampadu on loan for this season. Now, is it worth considering loaning Ampadu to either Norwich City or Fulham? Now, starting with Norwich, the first thing that just stands out immediately is Norwich know how to work with young players, how to raise their game, and how to make them better players. I think this season was proof enough. Players like Brendia, players like Campbell, players like Lewis, players like Aarons, these are players that are currently doing the rounds with lots of big clubs showing interest to sign them all. I think that comes down to how Norwich play the game. They play an attractive style of football, and to be honest, you know, credit to them, they stuck to their guns. They stuck to their philosophy, and they continue to play that attacking football that got them promoted in the first place. Now, of course, it's a shame that those 4 players, 5 players alone aren't going to be enough to just, you know, stop them from being relegated. But if Ampadu was loaned there, he would be signing for a club that know how to get the best out of young players and have the right environment to improve them and help them shine. Now, on the other hand, considering Fulham, of course, the major advantage is that now they have been promoted to the Premier League. The main benefit from that is that right now, if Ampadu was to sign for them, he's going to know very well that the club will closely be monitoring how he progresses in the Premier League. I mean, Fulham and our club are literally just like, I think 2 miles away. It's honestly like a 20-minute walk from our stadium to their stadium. So in that sense, if Ampadu was to sign for them, he knows very well that if he performs, if he's on point, and if he becomes a major player for them, he could dramatically boost his hopes and chances of one day representing our first team in the not too distant future. Now, considering how Fulham play under Scott Parker, As Park himself said, he cares more about the win than playing entertaining football. Now, I know that we could groan, of course, but considering that it would only be a loan spell for 1 year, this could be some valuable education for Ampadu. I mean, right now we know that he can either play as a centre-back or a DM, and playing under Fulham, he could grow to become a key player for them, and playing in that environment where there's that pressure to get 3 points consistently is only going to benefit him in the future when it comes to just strengthening his mindset, strengthening his mental game and his mental attributes when it comes to playing for a top 4 club. Not only that, but Fulham are also defensively solid. Ampadu could honestly learn a lot playing under Scott Parker. This way, when the club monitors his progress, they could really get a better understanding of Ampadu's defensive game and his defensive improvements as well. So I think that these are two interesting clubs showing interest in his loan signing. For me, I like to just bide our time a bit more. I guarantee there's going to be so many other clubs showing interest as well. But for me, I think it's best that Ampadu does get a loan spell next. And you know what? This is going to be complete hindsight as well before I end this point. A part of me did feel too that maybe if we record him back from his loan spell at Leipzig, he could have been so beneficial for us as the season ended. I mean, when we lost Kante, how many times due to injuries recurring time and time again, and with Billy Gilmour being out as well, this effectively meant for large periods of the season we couldn't consistently use a 4-3-3. Now consider the fact that if Ampadu was still here, he could have provided some competition at the centre-back position, and he could have played DM as well, allowing us to keep our midfield structure, which served us so well in getting wins past Liverpool, Everton, etc, etc. So in that sense, you guys, maybe that was something we missed out on. But anyway, that's going to be me for today. Please like, comment and subscribe. Remember, I have released another News Daily video where I give my thoughts and opinions on Willian and Pedro's farewell, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos.